Welcome to Corn Coast Conversations. I am your host, the illest in Nebraska, HAKIM. I'm here to bring you all content from all angles of life as a father, recording artist, entrepreneur, and business owner. I'm here to spark conversations on various topics from politics, conspiracies, music, culture, and current events. So join me on this journey through the lens of my human experience from right here in the Corn Coast. I'm excited to have you all along for the marathon. All right, cool. Welcome back to Corn Coast Conversations. This is episode number 9. It's been a little bit, been incredibly busy in my business and personal life, but as always, I pick back up where I left off, and we're gonna keep it moving. Today, again, episode 9 with the Stella. We're gonna talk a little bit about credit today. I know what I know, and that's all I know as far as credit. So I'm sure I got my student cap on in life as always. So I'm ready to learn more today and see the incredible insight that Stella has to offer. So if you want to give a proper introduction about yourself,
I'm Stella Rose. I'm a certified credit repair specialist. So I do that as well as I do funding. So they go hand in hand together, helping businesses get capital to be able to start or scale their businesses is huge. So
yeah, for sure. I can already tell that's something new that I'm about to learn today. The funding. Always have a kind of structured dialogue that I have, questions and stuff like that. But that's just to kind of keep us on track. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from?
I'm from Lincoln, Little Lincoln, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I kind of been in the entrepreneur field for a little while now.
Okay.
But I've been in the credit field for about 2 years. So I've been doing that. I started off trying to do jewelry.
Word.
So I actually took a girls class and was learning how to do that. I know how to do all that.
Okay.
But it's the more hands-on work that I just couldn't do after having my baby. So in order to get all the funding for that, I started, I took a credit repair class, got into some mentorships and all that. So that's how I learned to do all that. And then I started that business, and it's just been going ever since.
Okay, so out of all the endeavors that got going on, they all started with interest and just passion for them, I guess I could say. So why credit? Something that could be deemed so boring and just, not interesting. Like, did you get burned? Did you run into a situation where you needed good credit? Or why credit?
Well, yeah, credit's boring until you realize that it's in every day of our lives. Like,
100%.
More and more every day, even just to rent apartments.
Right.
So you need good credit. And like I said, I was going to try to start the jewelry business, but I didn't have the capital myself to be able to buy all the machines and to fund that business from the bottom up.
Right.
So I was like, I need the funding. In order to get funding, you got a PG. So that means you personal guarantee with your credit.
Okay.
So my credit, I had a bunch of collections on my credit. And so I thought it was real cool to me because, the statute of limitations is 7 years.
Right.
So everybody thinks once you got the collections on there, you can't get them off. Nope. We can sweep those off your credit.
Got you.
And learning how to do that, it was dope to me. I was like, okay, so there's different methods. You can actually get this stuff removed.
Okay, for sure. So the 7-year statute of limitations. So at that 7-year mark, the collections and things that are reported that are negatively affecting your credit, do they just fall off?
Yep, they're
completely.
Supposed to, yeah. But the thing is, these credit bureaus, they play dirty.
Yeah.
Because they get paid to keep this information on our credit profile. So a lot of times they'll resell the debt or they'll find a way to keep it on there, which that's illegal.
Right.
But people don't know that.
Right.
So once you get those things removed, you don't got to deal with that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right, for sure. Understanding credit. So can you explain in simplified terms what is credit?
So credit is basically your personal report card.
Okay.
That's how I look at it. So a lot of people don't understand that it's not just about your credit score, it's about your credit profile.
Gotcha.
So when you're going for funding or you're going to the banks for a car, anything, they're looking at your profile,
Right.
which what makes it up is the late, on-time payments, and then you got your utilization, your credit age, your credit mix, and your inquiries.
Okay.
So those are the things that make it up. So if you know how to structure your credit profile, then your score is gonna reflect that.
Okay.
And you're gonna look like a star in
All right,
anybody's
for sure.
eyes.
Can you rank the importance? Because I generally know a little bit about it. As far as like FICO score, and I see things like credit utilization, payment history, like longest standing account balance or just account history, and then there's a couple more. But which can you rank them in order of most important, or which one takes up the biggest piece of the pie?
So your payment history is the biggest.
Okay.
So you want to make sure having them on-time payments is the most crucial thing to your credit, because one late payment can drop it like 100 some points. So you want to make sure. And then the next is the utilization, and then the credit age. Those are all the three biggest pieces of it.
All right.
And then the inquiries and the credit mix, they both make only 55 points each.
Okay. So let's structure that out in the list again. So top one is
the payment history.
Payment history.
So that's worth 192.5 points of your score.
Payment history worth, what's the point?
192.5.
192.5. Okay. And then next in rank,
the utilization. That's 160.
card utilization.
Yep. 165%, or not percent, but points.
And that's the one that fucked me up.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, so I've been chipping away at that.
There's ways to fix that though.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Quick, easy
Mine,
ways.
okay, so, well, real quick, how much points for that?
165.
165. Okay. Now, what's next in line?
And then you got your credit age.
Credit age.
Yep.
And that is different from
That's
history,
like the
or?
Yeah, I mean they go hand, they're the same thing, but we call it credit age because they're your age of your accounts, they're averaged.
And you want to have
like a good 3 to 5 years, which looks good.
All right. 3 to 5 years on credit age, and that makes up how much points?
92.5.
92.5. Okay. Anything following after that?
And then the inquiries is 55, and credit mix is 55 too.
Inquiries, and credit mix, or what'd you say? Credit?
Yeah, the credit mix, like your mix of accounts that you have.
Got you. And that's 55 each.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Just send them notes to myself. All right. So, let's just, okay. So credit card utilization, you said there's ways to bring this down, because I'm going to ask you a lot of questions regarding my personal situation.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. So what are the ways that you can quickly bring down, credit card utilization other than avalanche method, chipping away at your
that's like, I mean, that's an effective method, but it's the slowest method because a credit card, the interest on it be killing people, because we're talking about between 20 to 30 to 35%, and it's like, how can you, if you got thousands of dollars in debt, how can you even pay that down?
Exactly.
So like the best thing that I recommend people doing is going to get either a personal loan, or you got a debt consolidation loan, because then you're gonna get a lot lower percentage on that, and then you got a fixed monthly payment that you do every month. So it's gonna take you a lot less time to pay that down than it is with interest acquiring every month on that balance.
Yeah, it's crazy that you mentioned that. So that's kind of what I was dealing with. I had like 90% utilization rate, and I was just like, all right, I'm a knucklehead, so like I'm very like disciplined and determined. So I'm like avalanche method. So I'm just increasing my labor. I'm cutting, every more I'm doing, I'm putting more into the time of my businesses and things like that. Then I got it down to like about 40-ish, and then now I'm sitting at a 60 again after doing a couple renovations and things like that to the business. But the thing that messed me up was once I realized that the personal loan or the debt consolidation loan was the route to go, I couldn't get some of those because they were basing it off of my like credit score, credit history, things like that, which is everything's great. Credit utilization is really my main thing that's like kind of knocking me down. Everything else is like real
You
solid.
got good credit age and all that.
Yeah, yeah. My credit score is it just went down like 10 because credit card utilization went up again. But I'm
Right.
sitting at like a I'm not proud of it, but it's like a 640 something.
That ain't too bad.
It's not terrible,
It's not
but
terrible.
I'm definitely trying to climb back up to the high sevens, mid
You don't
sevens.
got no like derogatories or late payments or
Not
nothing
that I'm
like
aware
that.
of. Maybe we
See?
can look at it, during this or after this. But I don't even. Where do you go to look that up?
Um, Usually I go on. It's called My Free Score now
All right,
because it shows you your 3 bureaus.
all
And
right,
it'll show all the collections that you got if
okay.
either bureau, because you might have some that's on one bureau that's not
Oh,
on the
that's not
other.
reported on the
So
other.
yeah,
Okay,
so you want to be able
all
to
right.
break down that picture of all three because we got banks that pull from different bureaus.
Mm,
So it's like a strategy to it, and that's another reason why because if you're using your credit to fund your business, that's why business funding is so important
yeah.
because the utilization on the business side does not affect your like anything that's done on the business side don't affect your personal.
Right,
So
right.
that's why all the gurus and
Yeah,
stuff they got like 800s,
right.
but they're in debt on the business
On the
side. That's how
business
they
end.
leverage their credit is because it's not, and then they can keep and they can go get more
Right,
business funding because
right.
you're PG and from your personal.
Right. And that's the thing that also messed me up was that I'm so initially when I first opened um my facility, the Corn Coast Company facility, all that was built out of like personal credit. And I wasn't really in tune with using business or getting business lines of credit and credit cards
Right.
and stuff like that. So I did all that on my personal. And then when I got game to I should have did all this under the business. Then I tried to apply for these business credit cards and it was going off of my personal. So I
Yeah.
couldn't get a lot of them because of my personal. I'm like, dang, what's the point
Okay, but
if
listen, see, there are business loans and stuff that you
yeah,
can acquire even with bad personal
right.
credit, but you're gonna have a little bit higher interest rate.
Okay.
So like those are things that we can look at. Like Rock
Yeah.
Financials, one of them. Upstarts, one of them. You can
Okay.
look into, and then these have like pre-approvals too, so you can see if you're pre-approved before you actually go and get the inquiry for it.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Um what are some of the type of things where it's not our inquiries go hand in hand like with hard pull and like
Yep.
okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
So the inquiries is just I like doing the pre-approvals.
Got you.
So anything that you can do the pre-approval on, they'll let you know if that's a soft pull. So that's not gonna have a hard inquiry on your credit
Okay.
report. But once you actually accept the offer, that's when you get that hard pull on there.
Okay.
So
And is there a general point number that like soft pull is 20 points or hard pull is X
they're
amount or
usually
just
like 2 points per inquiry.
okay.
So that's where people start, when they got 20 plus inquiries, that's where they start seeing the higher, point value
Yeah.
being decreased from them. But the lenders typically don't like to see more than like 3 inquiries, within the
Okay.
last 6 months.
6?
So
Okay.
that's why it's cool on the business side too, because you can remove those inquiries without them messing with the accounts. Because you
Gotcha.
don't want to remove an inquiry on an open account because
Right.
it can shut down the open account. But that's on the personal side.
Got you. Tell us how does credit affect like major life decisions, whether it's like buying a house, car? I know some people are like, well, I ain't tripping about credit. I can go buy it in cash. I can, whoop de whoop. What do
Oh
you feel
man,
about that?
there ain't enough money in the world. You can't do everything that you want to do, even with just money.
Okay.
Like there was even the rapper Peasy.
Yeah.
He got into credit because I was on his live one day and he was talking
Yeah.
about he's educating all the people and stuff
Right.
because he's like, I got millions of dollars, but there was things that I couldn't even acquire with that. Like he needed credit to get the mansion that he lives in. He had the money to pay for it,
Yeah.
but he needed to use his credit for it. And they was denying him because he
Okay.
had poor credit, and so he learned how to up his credit, and then now he goes around, he teaches that too.
Okay. So why would say again, let's use the mansion as an example. Why and who wouldn't allow certain people to just buy it in cash?
Well, it's the banks too.
Okay.
Like if the property belongs to a certain person, you can't just go and have your way with that. You got to go on their terms.
Okay.
So not everyone's gonna allow you to just, and the banks make money off of interest. So they want you to use your credit because that's how that's their business. They don't want people going and paying cash for this because then they're not really making money off of it. Yeah,
for sure.
So
for sure. All right. So tell us a little bit about how credit impacts employment and insurance rates.
So employment, there are people, I don't see it very much like in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
But there are people, that employers that look into your credit, and because like I said, it's your report card. How responsible are you? Are you, trustworthy? Are you reliable? Like, your credit tells a story about yourself. Okay. So, and I know people are young and they're not educated on it. So they don't do the best with them. But, you can get denied employment for that. And then with insurance, I know you can get higher insurance rates if you have bad credit. I get discounts on my insurance, my car insurance, because I got, my shit's like $750 plus. But
That's what's up. How long did it take you to get your credit score up that quick?
Oh wow. And it's been ups and downs because I was fighting to get some collections off my stuff. So I had to fight that, so I couldn't go get the business funding. Yeah. So I took a mentorship, and I paid for some of that with my credit, which brought my utilization up. So it's been ups and downs with it. But once you're educated on, those factors that make up credit, then you know exactly what you need to do to fix it. So
when you go to those collections, what is it more so, actually paying the collections off or telling them y'all don't, y'all in the wrong here, y'all not supposed to even have that information? Like, what does that look like?
It's the laws. You got to know your rights as a consumer in the laws. Like, they're not supposed to be doing half of the things that they do. Like, for example, I had a charge off, and what a charge off means they wrote it down. They wrote it off on their taxes. So they can't sell that information. And that's what they did. They sold it to a new collection agency and then had this collection agency reporting something completely different on my credit. So it was through the same company, but it had a different amount and it was a different collection agency and it was charged off before. So I know that I can use consumer law and I can go and I can use that law to get them to delete that or else I can sue them.
Right.
That's where the heavy thing is I can sue the credit bureaus because I can make money off of you rather than you making money off of this collection.
And when you do these methods of getting these collections off of your credit, are these phone calls being had, letters being written? What method?
It's a mix of everything. Like I leverage, so there's different ways that you can attack these things. There's factual disputing, which is like the one legal way that is legal credit repair. Yeah. Like, consumer law is legal because you're using the laws, but it's not considered credit repair. Okay. So factual disputing is what's actually considered credit repair in the law. But then I leverage Metro too, which is basically I'm not arguing the factuality of these accounts. I'm arguing whether you're able to report these accounts or not. Are you following all the regulations that you have to follow to be able to report these onto my credit? So that's really powerful too, because 9 times out of 10 they're not. So, and people don't know that because they don't know, the standards. Right. And then there's consumer law. So I mix all of them because it's not one size fits all for people's credit. Yeah. So I learned all and I mix all of them to get things deleted.
Got you. Tell us the best method for somebody that's trying to start today from scratch. And I say scratch, well, virtually, what is your credit score from scratch? Like, is there...
It's a 300. That's the lowest.
300?
Yeah.
And that's standard for everybody that... Say a 15-year-old, it's just...
That's the lowest that you can have, yeah. Or it'll say...
So before they put anything on their credit or before they make any purchases in their name, anything like that...
It'll most likely say can't be calculated.
Got you. Okay. So. Now, what's the best method to building 700 up from scratch? The quickest way?
From scratch, I would say you got to start out with some either secured loan or secured credit card. Every bank should have a form of like a pledge loan. That's what Navy Federal calls it. Or it's, just essentially a secured loan where you put your money down to secure the loan and they put the loan in your name. And then you can go and the next day, like one of the plays for it is the next day you go and you call them and you pay off 90% of that loan. So I would, the higher the amount that you put down, the better it's going to look. And then you'll have that money back in your account once you pay off 90% of it. And then it looks like you got a 90% paid off loan in your name as a primary account.
Okay, so break that down a little bit more for me. So you said this is a secured
loan.
A secured loan. So secured loan, hypothetically, I put down $5,000 of my personal money.
Yep.
And then how does that directly benefit me in the sense of now I have a $5,000 loan?
Now you got a loan in your name,
Got
but
you.
then where the play comes in is you call them like
Yeah.
the next day and you pay off 90% of that.
Okay.
So like when you put the money in the loan, they lock it in your savings account.
All right.
And so that they take the money from your savings account to pay it off, however you want to do it. And then once you call them and you pay it off, then that goes on it reports to your credit report 30 days later, and it'll boost your score.
And you're paying this off with more personal cash, or
nope? It the money from the loan that you have secured is what pays it off. Yeah.
Huh.
And then so you get that money back into your 90% of that money back into your checking account once you pay it off, and that's your money.
It's quite literally just like a wash and rinse. Like,
yep.
So you put the 5 in, and then that 5 sits as a loan, and then you call, and I'm like, I want to pay off 90%. They use that 5,000 that you just
90% of that would be like what, 4,000?
Yeah, type.
So you would get that 4,000 back, and then you want to set up the rest of it on auto pay for like a 12-month period.
Gotcha.
So then it's just automatically coming out of that account and paying it off every month.
Gotcha.
So then you get the payment history with that, and then you get the positive points because you got a 90% paid off loan. So that looks really positive on your credit.
Gotcha. What are the roles of secured credit cards? Like, what are those? Yeah, what are those? Are those different? How different are those from like a secured credit loan?
Well, the loan play is cool because you can get that money right back. But with the secured credit card, your money's locked up in there for like 6 months to a year until you can graduate to a real credit card. Because they'll graduate you. That's how that works.
Oh, so a secured credit card is...
You put your money in on it, and your money's locked in on that card. And then that becomes your limit. So whatever you put down, if you put $1,000 down, then that's going to be your credit limit for that card.
Okay, got you.
And then, after a year or so, 9 times out of 10, you get that money back, but not every place do. So you really have to, make sure that they're going to give you that money back.
Now, are those typically used for people that have bad credit and they're trying to get it back up?
People that are building or people that have bad credit,
the
those
secured,
are typically, Otherwise, if you can also build, there's credit building apps like Kickoff, Kovo, Self, Meet, Ava. They all report different things. So if you want to do your research on each one of them, but I mean, essentially, like I know Kickoff reports a $2,500 installment loan. And you pay monthly. You pay like $20 a month for like 2 years on that. So, Meet Ava, they got a loan option and a credit card option. Self got a loan option and a credit card option. And then you can also report your rent. So that's another positive primary account that you can do. And that can add age to your credit profile. So.
Got you. What are some of the key practices on maintaining good credit?
So maintaining good credit, pay on time. Yep. That's the biggest thing. You don't want no late payments. That's so detrimental. And then that credit card utilization, you want to keep it at 10% or below when it reports. But the thing about credit card utilization that people don't know is it only gets reported 1 day a month. So you can max out your card. Like, say you only have a $500 limit. Don't be scared to spend that money if you're going to pay it down by the date. So when you get your bill, you have your due date and then you have your statement closing date, which will be a little bit lower in smaller print. You want to look at that date. And because that's the day that your credit card reports to the bureaus.
Gotcha.
So as long as you pay your card down to like 10% or under by that date, then that'll be what your utilization is for the next 30 days.
Okay. All right. How often should somebody be checking their credit score?
Oh, I check mine every day.
Right. Yeah.
You check your bank account every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I check my credit every day because you never know. Like, fraud is real. Like Equifax had a data breach in 2017. So that's a method I used to get people's stuff off their credit too because your information was leaked. So you never know. Like, you really could have fraud on your credit report. So.
What do you use to check your credit score on a daily?
I use for my FICO. I use the Experian app. Because that's your legit score. But if I'm looking at my actual profile, I just use My Free Score Now. Or Identity IQ is really good too. Because it shows all 3 of the bureaus. but your scores on there aren't. Those are Vantage scores. So
what is a Vantage score?
A Vantage score is it's a different scoring factor. So you got FICO and then you got Vantage scores, and Vantage scores are made up differently, and that's not what the banks see.
Okay, so is it traditionally higher then or lower?
Yeah, when people, you see them memes or whatever about people going to car dealerships and they be like, oh, Credit Karma said I had a 700, but nah, see, because the banks don't see that. Okay. So they see your FICO, and there's different versions of FICO too. Like, it gets deep.
Okay.
There's like a FICO 2, a FICO 8, a FICO 10.
And what are those other variations of FICO?
They're so like if you're going for a mortgage or if you're going for a car, they're gonna pull your FICO 8 or FICO 9. That's like your car. Mortgage is like your FICO 10. So everything, like, it just depends on what you're going for. It's gonna be a different version that's pulled.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What are some of the most common mistakes people make that hurt their credit score?
Late payments, easy.
And what are the most traditional late payments that you see? Is it
credit cards, really?
Is it credit cards? What about like phone bills, utility? Like, what are all the type of things
utilities don't unless that's an account that's reported on your credit.
Yeah.
Then that's not, if it goes into collections, then that's different. But typically those type of bills aren't on your credit, so it's really typically just like on a car loan.
Yeah.
Or a credit card. If people, if they're not in good financial standing, or if they just they're not paying attention, to their due dates and stuff. And that's why I always put my stuff on automatic, because that's the last thing I want is a late payment. And then also adding too many accounts at one time, because that will drastically bring down your credit age.
Got you.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. When you set your auto payments, okay, I got a question. Are you familiar with like the 15 and 3 rule? Like 15 days before your statement, pay that off, and then 3 days, pay the remainder. Is that legit or not?
Because it's just an algorithm. That's how your scoring is made up. It's just an algorithm. And like I said, things are only reported like once a month. So.
Okay, so
it really don't
that
make
method
a
ain't really.
Yeah, nah. People just said that to go viral.
Word, damn! I done got. Okay.
But it, on a loan, like on a car loan, if you want to do 2 payments a month, because your interest acquires throughout the 30 days. Right. So you'll save yourself money in the long run if you make, one payment like the first of the month, and then your next payment, on the due date or whatever.
Right.
So.
Okay. Let's see where we want to jump to. How can people avoid falling into like credit traps and high interest debts and rates?
Business money.
Business money.
Business funding.
Funding.
Like, if you're gonna try to go for funding, you got all the 0% APR cards on there too. So what I do is it's like credit card stacking.
Okay.
So it's like a strategy. What banks pull from what bureaus. Yeah. So you go and you hit this one, you hit this bureau, and then you hit the other one, and you get like 3 cards per bureau, and then you're able to get, a lot of business cards have 0% APR, so you're not acquiring no interest for 12 months to 18 months, depending on, they all got different terms or whatever, but not having interest is huge, especially when you're making investments for your business and stuff, because that interest be killing people. Yeah, it really do. It didn't kill me. So, but on the personal side, I think just read the terms. If you're gonna get into a credit card, know the terms and understand that you don't acquire no interest on that unless you don't pay your statement in full. So on your due date, you want to pay what's due, because whatever you leave on that balance is what's gonna have interest added on.
Okay.
So.
Are there any like the 15 and 3 method? Are there any other just common methods out there that people have a misconception that it helps their credit that are actually not doing nothing for them or actually hurting them?
Paying their collections.
So you're saying don't pay your collections?
No. Don't do that. Like, it's and even if you're getting threatened with being sued, there's definitely things that you can do in the consumer law that you can fire back at them. Okay. So people get so intimidated by that, and it's not something to be intimidated about, because these people don't have power over you unless you let them have it.
Right.
So, and people don't know that. But once you pay your collections, you're admitting to that debt. So it makes it a lot harder to get it removed because people don't understand. They think that paying their collections means it's going to get removed from their credit report.
Right.
They're not going to remove
Even
it.
if you
It's
paid it off.
still going to be a negative account. It's just going to say paid. And sometimes they don't even put it that you paid it. So, and that's illegal. But,
Damn.
you know, because
Shiesty.
they get paid for keeping these accounts on your credit report. They're not going to just delete that. Yeah.
Right. Man, that's crazy.
And then it makes my job harder because you already admitted to the debt. So then the only thing that I can do is Metro too, because we don't care if that, you know, account is factual.
Yeah.
Are you able to report it or not? Are you following all them standards?
Okay.
So that's like the only way that you can really remove it once it's paid.
Got you. Tell us how credit plays different roles in different stages of our lives. So from teenager to college to somebody that is an entrepreneur, and then also somebody that is typically working, you know, a traditional 9 to 5, you know, quote unquote, you know, normal lifestyle.
Right. So, you know, once you're young, probably want to get your first car.
Okay.
If you don't have the support of, like, you know, supportive parents or anything, and you out here on your own, then, you know, by the time you're 18, you could have a credit score. If you have anybody that you trust,
Is that now? That's the earliest you can have a credit score.
Yeah,
it's 18. Got you.
That's the earliest you can apply for anything credit. So, the thing that people can do for that is they can be authorized user on anybody that they trust credit, as long as that you know that person is good and in good financial standing. They got low utilization, on time. They always pay their bills on time, stuff like that, because that's going to reflect on your credit. So, you know, getting that first car, some people getting that apartment. Like, I know when I was 18, I had to get an apartment, and I had to lie about mine because they were trying to get me to get a cosigner. I didn't have that support. So, you know, it was certain things. I was kind of stuck in a box. But then, you know, in college, using your credit cards wisely, just in that mid stage to life, you know, like I said, getting apartments, getting jobs, car insurance, getting car rentals, everything like that, they're basing off your credit nowadays. Or you need a credit card to do some of those things. So you need to be able to get a credit card. So, and then, you know, when you're older, you want to get a house. I'm sure a lot of people want to own a home rather than rent. They're, you know, you're pouring money into renting and not getting nothing out of it. You might as well own a home. You need a mortgage for that. You need to be able to get approved for a loan. You know, credit affects every day of our lives.
Every aspect.
People really don't understand it gets that deep.
Yeah. With the recent economic changes really starting from COVID and just the economic situations that we're in as far as interest rates, how has I forget the statistic that I seen, but it was a crazy statistic of the average American and their like debt to income and just really their credit card debt that the masses are really in. And you know, me myself have, you know, experienced and, you know, digging my way out of that hole. Tell us a little bit about that and just how drastically, or if they drastically, you know, the interest rate changed with the credit cards from Amex's into, you know, the trickle down effect to all those big, you know, companies and organizations.
Right. So I don't know what it used to be. I just got in the credit game, you know, 2 years ago. So I really, you know, became aware of certain things like that. But I just know, you know, them 20 to 35% is killing people on the credit card. So, because like I said, I've seen it up there. There. Like, I know on one of my cards, it's like 26.4%. And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking like, dang, so if I got if I got like a $2,000 balance, y'all are adding like $300 to $400 on my bill if I can't pay that in full.
Exactly.
You know, like, and if I paid my credit card down, you know, the most I could do this month was $400. It's just right. It makes no difference. It's, you know, like, how are you even supposed to pay it down? But that's how the banks get paid. That's literally how the banks get paid. They go and you borrow money from them. They put your money into life insurance, so they make 6% off that. And then plus they're making that interest rate that you're paying off that. So they're banking on you.
Man.
You know, they're banking on you not being able to pay your bill in full. And that's why I think I teach people, you know, to use your credit cards responsibly, to use them like a debit card. Because you can get, you know, your rewards points and cash back from your credit card, where when you're swiping your debit card, you're not getting nothing.
Right.
So you might as well get something from paying that. But, you know, don't spend it like a debit card. Like, you wouldn't spend a debit card if you don't have the money in your account.
Right.
So do the same with a credit card. Like, you know?
Yeah, 100%. That's one thing I am thankful for, though. I found myself in a lot of credit card debt. All the times I swiped the card was for assets.
Right.
So everything that I swiped it for was things that was going to make me money on the back end.
And that's, but, you know, like, you part of the 1%.
Yeah.
So, you know, the average American is a consumer.
Yes.
So
heavily.
Yep, heavily. And people, you know, that's the worst thing people can do. They get that bag, you know, and they go and they rock that designer. They go blow that bag, and they don't understand, like, it's one thing to blow that bag on an asset, to invest that money. It's a whole different thing to go on a shopping trip or on vacation or try to flex for the gram.
Yeah,
like.
exactly. And it's quite frankly, it's really like, you know, for the people like you and me, it's a no-brainer. It doesn't even make sense to swipe my credit card for something that I know for a fact is not going to make me money. Like, and I don't see how people can do that on a day-to-day basis and just go on a little shopping spree at the mall and on items that are going to depreciate as soon as you swipe your card.
Right,
like,
literally.
Because you can go and resell that bag, resell the shoes, and it's a slippery slope.
It is.
It's a very slippery slope.
You know, a lot of people look at it like it's not my money.
Yep.
But when in reality, it is, though. Yeah. That's how people got to start switching their mindset. So.
Got you. Is there anything that you want to go off of schedule and just kind of talk? I didn't know if you had anything prepared for today that you wanted to specifically talk about. Anything that comes to mind as far as getting the people knowledge and allowing them to be more knowledgeable after this episode to start fixing their credit and taking control of their financial situation?
Well, there's you know, a couple things, like I said, the factors that factor into your credit score. You know, there's some plays that you can run to help advance those in your own personal situation. So it just depends on what people have going on. You know, if you got late payments and stuff, you got to get that removed. If you got any derogatory, you got to get those removed. You can either, you know, YouTube University, they got some plays on there. TikTok got some plays. Like, there's things that you can do, or you can hop in a mentorship like I did. Or you can, you know, pay somebody else to do it. But I think it's better to teach, you know, the fish how to, you know, teach them how to fish so that they can feed themselves for the rest of their life. And then, you know, as far as like utilization, you can go and you can get a trade line. And that'll bring down your overall utilization because it's like an authorized user. Basically, you're paying, you're going online and paying for somebody else's card to get reported onto your credit. So that can do, you know, two things. That can bring down your overall utilization, and then that can up your credit age too. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. So I can go for the business funding and do the credit card stacking. Gotta add a trade line to up my age.
So these trade lines are from people that are
they just got, like, I could go, and if you got a credit card that you've had for like 10 plus years and it has like a $25,000 limit, you can go on TradelineSupply.com even, or even just to, you know, people sell their trade lines, you know, undercover on the low, as an authorized user basically. So you get people to pay you to be an authorized user on your card. Because you got good credit standing with this card, and they can get what they want out of that, and then you get your money out of that. So.
Okay, so essentially you got great credit. I want to use your trade line essentially. And then how much, obviously it fluctuates depending on how well your credit is and how bad mine is.
Well, it's not about the score. It's just about the card standing. Like, when you're doing trade lines, they're one account. So it's typically credit cards.
Attached to a card. Got you.
So it's like authorized user. Like, my dad has me authorized user on his card. He's had it since like 2018. But just that credit card reports to my account. So, and then, you know, obviously with authorized user, you can choose whether they get access to the card or not. Obviously, you wouldn't give them access to the card. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't get access to your dad's card.
Well, he gave me access, but I don't use it. So that wasn't my intention with it.
But traditionally, I wouldn't give you access, or you wouldn't give me access to that card.
Yeah.
Okay, so in what way does it benefit you then? Just the card alone, having that?
To your, like, my score jumped like 30 points when my dad did that because it jumped up my age.
Oh, so that's the main thing.
The age of that credit card reports onto my credit, and then his limit reports onto mine. So if I have high utilization, because you have high utilization on one card, but you have an overall utilization reporting too. So like if you have 3 credit cards and you only have one that's maxed out, then your overall utilization is going to be an average of all your credit cards. So if you have, a credit card that you got at 60% utilization, and then you get 3 trade lines, and they're each like 25, 30K, then that's going to drastically bring down your overall utilization. And then that can help, if you're going for a loan or anything like that.
Right.
So another thing with the credit age, another play that you can run to add age to your credit is reporting your rent. So you can do that on rentreporters.com. There's Rental Karma and Rent Track are the ones that I'm really familiar with. They'll backdate. So then it'll report as a primary account onto your credit profile, and then it'll add that age to it, because they can, like, I know Rent Reporters will let you backdate 2 years, but I've had, like, my mentor, he lived with his mom owned the house, so he backdated all the way to when he was 18. So that added like 9 years of credit age onto his profile and boosted his profile like 50 some points.
Man.
So
that's game.
Yeah. It's a play you can run.
Yeah, for sure. As we get ready to close out the episode, what is the most important takeaway you want the listeners today to remember about building and maintaining credit?
So I think that people just need to understand how important credit is in your life. If you don't need it today, you're probably going to need it tomorrow. So it's always better to build your, become educated on it and build your profile out. And if you need anything removed, get that done. Start the process before you actually need the credit. Don't wait until your car breaks down and you don't have no money and you need a loan. Do it beforehand. Be, proper preparation.
Right.
So that's the biggest takeaway. And then always, of course, budget and, change your mindset and use your money wisely.
Right.
So
any resources that you recommend or tools to, again, maybe 4 or 5 of them that help and will impact the most? Say today's the day I finally, after watching this episode, I want to turn my credit around and take this thing on head on. Where would you start? Would you start obviously first looking at your credit to see what it even is, and then I guess a couple steps after that?
So looking at your credit, you can go on Identity IQ. That's going to give you the big picture, or My Free Score Now, that's going to show you your whole profile from all 3 of the bureaus.
Okay.
Then you can know your next steps. If you need to get things removed, you can always reach out to me.
Gotcha.
Or you can go to YouTube University. You can go on Instagram. There's gurus on there. Just study. If you're going to go to somebody else, study them. Obviously, make sure they're legit, because it is, unfortunately, scams going on out here. And then, another thing that you can do is get a mentor. Like I said, learn the game yourself, I think, because once you learn it yourself, then you're unstoppable with that. Another thing, like I said, those credit building apps that I mentioned before, Self, Kickoff, Meet Ava, Kovo is another one. Those are super good. You can build your credit with them. Check with your bank. That's the best thing. That's the best place to start if you're trying to build credit, is with a bank that you already have a relationship with.
Right.
Credit unions are super good. Build relationships with those, because they be giving out the bag, because they are for people. They're not like the mainstream banks. Credit unions are for the people and the interest of the people.
Gotcha.
So you can get those, secured products, those credit building products from them. For the most part, that's what I got. Just really educate yourself on this stuff. Because once you're educated, then
for sure
all the rest falls into place.
Yep. Tell the listeners and the viewers today where they can find you and where they can reach out to you for credit assistance.
So my Instagram is _Steezy Stella. So you can always reach out to me on there. Otherwise, my business email is info@a1prolificresolutions.com. And you can always email me if you're interested in credit repair. So
Cool.
And then I'm also going to be dropping a course here soon where I'm teaching other people how to do what I'm doing, the methods that I use to remove things. Because like I said, there's, a lot of different methods. So I want to teach them all so that people are very versed in it. And if one thing doesn't work for them, then maybe the next thing will.
Right. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up episode 9. Off camera, I would like for you to help me view a couple things and methods that we went over. I really want to see where I'm at, because usually all I check is just FICO off of my Wells Fargo app. It gives me my little once a month, and it'll tell me like the categories, like your utilization, your history, things like that. But I want to go a little bit more in depth and just see like how far off track I am, or if okay, like not as I thought. And then with that, I will wrap up an outro and let y'all know, how we did, how things look. In fact, I might actually even keep the camera rolling, and just cut things up, whoop-de-whoop. But yeah, this was episode 9, with the Stella. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in to Corn Coast Conversations. Again, I am your host, the illest in Nebraska, HAKIM, and my guest today was Stella again. Hope you guys learned some very insightful knowledge about building credit, and I hope you guys start today and turn around your credit score and take over your life financially, mentally, and physically. Peace. All right. I'm gonna just leave it rolling.